0.6 yards per carry. Now, Andy Reid is a very aggressive offensive coach, play caller. Him and Eric Bieniemy really try to push the ball down the field. It'll be interesting to see from a strategic standpoint, do they modify their approach this game because their matchup, they have a really good running back in Isaiah Pacheco, averages almost 5 yards a carry. As you mentioned earlier, Dan, they activated Clyde's Edwards-Helaire, so they have a little bit more depth there. So from a strategy standpoint and a chess match, I'm really interested to see, will Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy modify themselves a little bit to exploit the one vulnerability of that Eagles defense, which is stopping the run?
Yeah, I think the Eagles defense, the stopping the run thing, I understand, but they're really good at limiting big plays. So I would find a way, if I was the Chiefs, to try to find a way to create big plays. And that way, I think, is using Travis Kelce in the middle of the field. There hasn't been an answer for Travis Kelce all season, and that's where Eagles are weakest in the passing game. They're number 1 in the league outside the numbers. They're number 26, I think, in the league inside the number through passing attack, and that's where Travis Kelce likes to work. So I think that's the way that they beat him. Yes, some running, but you're going to have to get big chunks against any NFL defense, especially one this good.
What do you think? How do the Chiefs attack the Eagles?
I think Edwards-Helaire is a guy that, like, before his injury, he's a big screen guy. So when you have a physical, aggressive front that likes to get up the field and pass rush, the one way that you can really attack that is through the screen game. And Patrick Mahomes' ability to sidearm the ball and get it through the traffic, I think having a running back that you can run the screens through is really going to slow down the front. That's how you slow him down, screen game.
Add him to Pacheco, Jerick McKinnon, who had a big finish to the season. They do have depth at that running back position. Let's flip it around. How do the Eagles take advantage of a Chiefs weakness?
Well, I think it's the offensive tackle. Like, you know, if you go across the board here, the offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs, they're solid in the middle, but on the outside, you know, Wiley's a kind of a weak link there. So you have a great pass rusher. We know that the Eagles can get after the quarterback. So again, if you look at Reddick and what he's been able to do, he's got 19.5 sacks through the regular season and the playoffs, 3.5 in the playoffs. You saw him last week against the 49ers. They game planned terrible. They had a backside tight end coming across to try and block the best pass rusher they have. So you have to make sure that you put your best pass rusher against the weak link, take advantage of that. Maybe you get a ball off them. We've seen in the Super Bowl in the past with the Eagles playing the Patriots, it was only one rush. You get the ball off somebody, you get a turnover, that's the game.
Mike T, what do you think the Chiefs' biggest weakness is?
Oh, it's their lack of experience on defense. It's remarkable how good they've been this year and how young they are. When you think about their secondary, Trent McDuffie's a first-round pick, Jalen Watson's a seventh-round pick, Josh Williams a fourth, Brian Cook's a second, and they've all played meaningful amounts of snaps this year. And when you're going against this very complicated Philadelphia Eagle offense and how great Jalen Hurts is at making decisions, zone reads, RPOs, it's going to put a lot of pressure on that Chiefs secondary. So they've played very well this year, but they are very inexperienced, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I think one of the strengths of the Eagles team is their corners with Slay and Bradbury. And one of the weaknesses of the Chiefs team is like the receiver talent. It's not all that high. So I think that's the way the Eagles can attack them, is leave those corners on an island, put more attention on the inside of the field to take away Kelce, and hope that your corners can stand up. I think the corners can play well in those positions. The question is Patrick Mahomes being able to buy time, which we think will be somewhat limited with his ankle. Buying time in man coverage is tough on the corners, but if he stays in the pocket, I think those corners will be fine.
The other issue is that the Chiefs have a lot of injury problems at wide receiver, right? Mecole Hardman not going to play. Kadarius Toney, Juju Smith-Schuster left the AFC Championship game with injuries. We'll obviously track their status, as the week goes along. But we want to stop with another AFC West team and Denver, because the Broncos.
Going to San Fran.
You have to have a quarterback you can go win with. Vegas makes a lot of sense.
Have you started recruiting Aaron Rodgers?
Duh. Why would anybody not do that?
A lot of Raider fans are encouraging me. We're having some fun with it.
Aaron Rodgers having a lot of fun these days, and yesterday his offseason took another interesting turn. He spoke at, this is a Meanwhile on Planet Earth, he spoke at an astrology seminar on Monday, and yes, I'm serious. This is a little bit of a rundown of what went on during the astrology workshop that Aaron Rodgers spoke at, talking about, learn how to be comfortable and happy in your own skin, understanding your birth chart through the 4 elements. You know, typical Monday like most of us have. And then here's Aaron speaking at the seminar over a shot of his own birth chart. I guess, what is he, a Sagittarius? Did we figure that out? Sagittarius? So,
sure.
Yeah, Armina Kimes was following this on Twitter for a while, and There was a tweet she was interested in about Sagittarius, right? Key dislikes feeling confined and being subject to rules. And you see there, yes, Mina found that interesting as well. And Dominique Foxworth finds that interesting. And let's be honest, on some level, whether we like it or not, we all find this very interesting.
I'm interested.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I want to know what Aquarius is.
What do we make? You want to know what Aquarius? Well, I mean, look, I'm sure you could have logged on to the seminar. I mean, seemed like you're slacking.
I think, I'm not into astrology, but I mean, it's no weirder than a lot of other religions are. So if it works for him and it makes him feel comfortable, more power to you, Aaron Rodgers. And he does seem happier. But I do think, he seems happier. He seems in a better place. And if the stars and the moon can do that for you, then I'm happy for you. And what Mina found suggests that maybe there's something to that. But anyway, I would suggest that Aaron Rodgers take his time and figure out what he wants to do. And the best place for him, in my view, is back in Green Bay.
Well, I don't think that he needs your encouragement to take his time and figure out what he wants to do, because it seems like that's his thing, right? The offseason comes along, he bops around to all these places, he drinks some tea, he goes and checks out his star chart. If you're the general manager of the Green Bay Packers, what do you need to see and hear and when?
A deadline a week before the league begins, which is about March 7th, and here's why. We have Jordan Love. We are going to move forward with Jordan Love. We would love to have you back, make about $60 million, Aaron. However, you are not a free agent. So if you want to play football and you want to talk about a trade, we're going to do it before the start of the league year. There's way too many moving parts for us to accommodate you in June, July, and August. So if you want to play, great. We'd love to have you back. If you want to be traded, this is a three-way transaction. I was part of it when we traded Brett Favre. If you want to go to the Raiders and they're offering a 7th-round pick and the New York Jets are offering 2 first-round picks, we're not just going to allow you to go to the Vegas Raiders. So this is very complicated. And the key here, guys, is he is not a free agent. He's under contract. He is not going to retire. There's $60 million at stake. And this, to me, is why the Green Bay Packers have the right to create a sense of urgency.
They don't have the right. They lost that right when they went and drafted Jordan Love. So Aaron does not need my permission to take his time, but I would laugh in your face if I was Aaron Rodgers because he has the leverage. The reason why they were able to treat Brett Favre the way they treated Brett Favre was because Aaron Rodgers was cold. He was a great damn quarterback, and they're like, all right, go do whatever you want to do. If Jordan Love had been the player that they wanted him to be off the bat, they would have already gotten rid of Aaron Rodgers. So, like, all this tough talk from the Packers now is like, you signed up for this over and over again, and you took your shot, and you missed. But now that you missed, I'm in charge.
Tough love it is. Wake up. Like, you could draw a line in the sand and say, you know, we've been nice. We gave you all this money, tons of money. I think it's fair if they said, you know what, you're either going to play for us or you're retired.
I don't disagree with you. Like, it's fair to draw the line in the sand. The point I'm making is that line don't mean nothing.
Right.
Because you don't have an alternative. Like, your alternative is to go to a guy that you guys obviously didn't believe in, or you would not have extended Aaron in the first place.
They've also spent the last couple off seasons pretty much giving him everything he wanted, including that contract that pays him $60 million a year. You don't think there's a chance he goes to them and says, yeah, I would play, but only under the right set of circumstances, so we have to work together on a trade?
Right, and what I would say, that's fine. But again, once the league year begins in March, like, that ship has sailed, and create a sense of urgency. And Nick, I totally get your point that Green Bay made their bed when they drafted Jordan Love, but so did Aaron Rodgers when he signed that extension. He could have tried to avoid the contract and play for free agency. Understandably, he took $60 million. I'm not.
Right, I don't disagree with you on that, but my point is, if we're talking about leverage in this situation, which it can be like a friendly conversation and relationship, which it suggests that Aaron has been saying in the past that it's been better. But if you come in there with this hard line in the sand, then it makes it contentious. And when it gets contentious, you have to figure out who has the most leverage. And in my view, right now, Aaron Rodgers has the most leverage in this conversation. So Gutekunst and everybody else in that organization, they need to chill out. You knew what it was when you signed up. Aaron Rodgers has been like this since Aaron Rodgers has been in the NFL. You can't all of a sudden be like, oh, we need a firm answer. He's never given you a firm answer.
Real quick.
I think it gets contentious when careers are on the line, because if you're a coach or you're in upper management, you're trying to figure out, what do we move forward with this team? And he's not giving them an answer.
That's not his fault. It's not his job.
I think then it creates that line in the sand where you're like, figure it out, tell me what you need. If you're here, great. If not, then go do your.
It's a business. That's what y'all say to players, right?
Look at the stars, and do your Aquarius stuff.
Mike, when you cut a player, you're like, it's a business, right? Yeah. So Aaron can say, well, it's a business. Tough.
He has
sometimes it hurts.
The last couple of years kind of tilting this to his advantage. We'll continue to follow Aaron's movements throughout the offseason, throughout the stars, wherever his travels take him. But we're going to go do some basketball now because Tim Legler is back with us, and we're going to run the floor. Legs. Klay Thompson had 12 threes. The Warriors win. Are we starting to see the Klay of old?
Yeah, we've been seeing it for a while now, and this is probably the most important thing that you